Sentence types. Today I'll explain the second type of a sentence. It is a compound sentence. What is a compound sentence? It is two or more than two independent clauses joined by using variety of ways. The first way using comma fanboys, the second way using semicolon, the third way using dash or colon. But when we use dash or colon, we use dash or colon to show that the second clause explains the previous one. Please put in your mind that we never use semicolon before the fanboys. We use only before the fanboys a comma. For example, Noor was absent yesterday. This is an independent clause or a simple sentence. She had an accident. It is another independent clause or a simple sentence. And I put in the middle full stop. How can I join them together? How can I combine them together to make a compound sentence? We have many different ways. We can use comma fanboys, like Noor was absent yesterday, comma for she had an accident. So this is one of the four ways. Or we can say Noor was absent yesterday, semicolon, she had an accident. Or Noor was absent yesterday, colon, she had an accident. Do not forget, we use dash or colon between two independent clauses to show that the second clause explains the previous one. The errors of compound sentence. We have comma splice and run-on sentence. What is comma splice? A comma splice or a comma cannot be used to join two independent clauses. If you find a comma between two independent clauses, it's called comma splice. But a comma could be used to join one dependent clause or phrase and an independent clause. So if you find a comma between independent clause and dependent clause or dependent phrase, it's not comma splice. It's right, because it is a type of complex sentence. For example, if I say Omar was sad, Omar is the subject, was sad is the predicate. It is an independent clause. He lost his new bike. This is another independent clause because it has a subject he and the predicate lost his new bike. Two independent clauses joined by using only comma. This is called comma splice. But do not forget, if the comma comes between two different clauses, one independent clause, the other one is dependent clause or phrase, it's not comma splice, it's right. And what is run-on sentence? The second error of compound sentence, two independent clauses without joining them. Like Omar was sad, he lost his new bike. I have two independent clauses but nothing in the middle. So this is called run-on sentence. So the two errors for compound sentence, comma splice and run-on sentence. How to fix run-on sentence or comma splice sentences? How can I fix them? We have many different ways. The first way, using a full stop to divide the two independent clauses into two simple sentences. Number two, using semicolon, colon, or dash. The third way, using comma fanboys. The fourth way, using a subordinating conjunctions depending on the meaning, according to the meaning, matching with the meaning. Number five, changing the second clause into a participial phrase. Way number six, changing the second way or the second clause into a relative clause. For example, as I told you, Omar was sad, he lost his new bike. The run-on sentence that was written before. How can I fix it? These are the examples. The first way, I put full stop in the middle and divided the run-on sentence into two independent clauses. Omar was sad, he lost his new bike. Or using comma fanboys. Omar was sad, comma for, that means because he lost his new bike. It is a compound sentence. Or Omar was sad, colon, he lost his new bike, because the second clause explains the previous one, so I use colon to make a compound sentence. Or Omar was sad because he lost his new bike. I used a subordinating conjunction, so I changed the run-on sentence or the comma splice into a complex sentence. Or changing the second clause, he lost his new bike, into participial phrase by putting the verb in present participle or past participle. Here I put to the verb ing that works as an adjective. This is called participial phrase to describe what? To describe Omar. So Omar was sad, comma, losing his new bike. I changed the second clause into participial phrase. Or I changed the second clause into a relative clause. Omar was sad, comma, who lost his new bike. So I changed the second clause into a relative clause. These are the different ways of how to correct run-on sentence or comma splice. This is a confusing sentence. Confusing sentence for complex sentence and run-on sentence. My mom gave me the red dress she bought yesterday. If you read the sentence without concentrating, you will tell me that my mom is the subject, give me the red dress, it's the predicate. She is another subject, bought yesterday, another predicate. So subject, predicate, another subject, predicate, nothing in the middle, or two independent clauses without joining them. It is a run-on sentence. If you tell me it's a run-on sentence, I'll tell you, no, this is wrong. Why? Let's explain this confusing sentence. My mom gave me the red dress she bought me yesterday. The second part, it is not an independent clause. It is not an independent clause. It is a part of a relative clause. So you will ask me, where is the relative pronoun, Mr. Muhammad? I'll tell you that when we studied relative pronouns, I told you the relative pronoun could be optional. We can use it in the sentence or we can delete it, depending on its function. If the relative pronoun works as the subject of the verb, we must write the relative pronoun. But if the relative pronoun does not work as the subject of the verb, it's optional. You can use it, you can delete it. Here in the second part, the verb bought, the subject of bought is she. So the verb has a subject. So it's optional for the relative pronoun. If you say, look at the previous, the example at the bottom of the page. If you say, my mom gave me the red dress, which or that she bought me yesterday. Here the verb bought, the subject of the verb bought is she. So it means which does not work as the subject of the verb. So it's optional to write or to use the relative pronoun. So the relative pronoun is optional if it does not work as the subject of the verb. So this sentence is a complex sentence.